Hello, I'm John. Thanks for watching. This video is about repairing a whacker plate, so it may not appeal to that many people, but even if you're not interested in the ins and outs of a whacker plate, flick along to the end where you'll see something that is very unusual in the UK, and that is the filling in of a pothole. This morning's little job is this whacker plate. The engine runs okay, but it's stopped whacking. So I'm just going to take it apart and have a look and see why. Like everything else around here, it's seen better days, but it does work all right when it is going. I don't know much about these, but I think the best place to start probably is to take this guard off and see what's lurking underneath. Two belts by the look of it. Oh dear, yeah, and they do look in a dreadful state, all cracked and worn through, so it's probably them slipping. Slacken the bolts off that hold the engine on. See if I can prise it forward with a crowbar. Nail bar, that's moved it. Now see if we can get the belts off. Yep. There they are. And I think they have definitely seen better days. Well, best I get some new belts. I don't know if the camera's focused on there, but I think it says A32, so it's obviously an A section and 32 inches long. It's definitely seen better days. I think it's about time we had a new belt. Now that I've taken or undone the bolts to take the belts off, I've decided to give the poor old thing a surprise and actually do some maintenance to it, change the oil and etc. So we've taken all the bolts out and going to take the engine off. Oh, it's not too bad at all, not that heavy. It'd be much easier to drain the oil out. Now it's actually off the frame. So I've got a trusty ice cream container to catch the waste oil, and let's just take the plug out, see what sort of state it looks like in. Oh dear, quite black. Well, I'm really pleased I went to the trouble of letting the oil out, as there was hardly any in, and that's black like a diesel would be, which is shocking lack of maintenance. And just spin round and show you something else that I've found, which is concrete has set hard in the bottom there. I've tried to get it out with a hammer and chisel, but to no avail, so I'm going to have another try with an air chisel. So let's see what the air chisel will do to the set hard concrete. It's been there for absolutely years and years. Never noticed it before because I never had the engine off. Oh yes, that breaks it up quite easily. Although the plug fell off. In the end, I decided the best option was to pull it right apart. So I've unscrewed that bit from the springs, and the reason I did it was because the concrete has got right underneath that whatever it is that makes it vibrate, and so that needs to come off and be all chipped out Also, I don't really know how they work, other than it must be some kind of eccentric weight which makes it flying round out of balance and makes it vibrate. And whether they have any lubrication or anything inside, I don't know. Do you know, Otto? No, Otto doesn't seem to know either. So now the next problem is chipping out the concrete out of those Allen key headed bolts and see if I can get them out. So I'll just try and get the concrete out of the bolt so I can get an Allen key in it, which doesn't do these cheap hard chisels any good because they're softer than what the concrete is. But it is working after a fashion. So I've just ground up these very cheap and nasty hard chisels to try and get it to the shape I can get in there to chip the cement out. This doesn't really do my arthritic thumbs much good. Let's see what we're left with. Oh, that's not too bad. Allen key should go in. Hopefully that might even fit with a bit of a gentle persuasion from a hammer. Let's see if it will. Yes, look at that. So let's see if we can get the rest of the bolts undone. Got a 14mm impact Allen key on a 3/4 inch drive rattle gun, so it should play with it, we hope. I certainly couldn't do it with a big Allen key by hand. Will it fit? No, will it buggery? There we are. Good, that's one. The other two at the bottom looked worse. This is the one I'll just get the concrete out of. Ooh, that hasn't been out lately. So all the bolts are out, which is a bit of a worry. Now the whole thing looks as though it's concreted in. So we'll try with a... yes, that's got it. With a bar and see if we can release it. I suspect it's quite heavy. Oh, yeah, it is heavy. Oh dear, and look at the concrete underneath it. It's about time the poor old thing had some maintenance. Dear, oh dear, oh dear, what a state. Otto's trying to help to air chisel the concrete off, but unfortunately I think we're going to have to put him indoors in case he gets injured with bits of flying cement, aren't you, Otto? Yes, we know you're trying... No, you can't leave my microphone. That's just stupid, isn't it? So I really do try and look after my stuff a little bit better than this. I hasten to add this concrete under here was from its previous life before I had it. Anyway, let's see if we can get rid of it. Oh yes, comes off easily. There we are. Almost pristine now. I'm determined to get this end plate off because I'm curious as to what's inside and whether it ever has had any lubrication or ever should. I've undone 3 bolts, but you can see how I've got to abuse the tools, unfortunately, to undo them. It's a wonder that Allen key has stuck it. There, oh, that's just gone. Brilliant. All will be revealed shortly, hopefully. Let's see if the plate will come off, revealing what is inside. That might be stuck on with old cement though. Nope, it's moving. I'll just abuse it with a screwdriver now, see if we can prise it off. Ah. an enormous bearing, an ordinary ball bearing by the look of it. Not sure if you can see that. I'll move the camera around a bit. An absolutely gigantic bearing. But whether it's got any lubrication remains to be seen. There's something very unusual written on it, England. Don't see that much nowadays. I've undone the plate at the other end, and to get that off to lubricate the bearing that end you need to take the pulley off. Not sure if it comes up on screen, but yeah, I think it does. There's an Allen key, little stud put in there, and I can't undo it. And so I'm going to try and put the whole thing in the press now and see if I can just press it out enough to get some grease into the bearings. I obviously have grease and not gear oil. I poured gear oil in the back one, expecting it to go right through, and it didn't move at all, so it must be sealed inside. Okay, well, if I can get this in without lowering the press down anymore. Oh yes, that's looking good. If my theory is correct, that should push that main shaft through. So you only need enough just to get some grease on that other bearing. Let's see what happens when we push on it. Oh yes, something's happening. Yep, that's pushing it out to the other end, at least to the depth of that nut. That may well be enough. Oh yeah, that's plenty enough to get some grease in. It's nearly pushed the bearing right out as well. So actually I may continue and push it right out. At least I can have a look at what's inside there then. Okay. So that's what's lurking inside it, a big weight. And just ordinary ball bearings on each end. And they're sealed, that's why the oil wouldn't go through. So nothing is actually in the centre of it at all, only fresh air. But at least I can get to the bearings now to give them a good old grease up. All pressed back together now. Loads of grease put in both the bearings, both ends. Just a matter of putting the cap back on and fastening it back on the whacker plate. Starting to bolt it back together again now, and the new belt's on. You can probably see that as it's sitting at the minute, the belts aren't running true at all. It looks quite on the piss, so got to sort that out. But one thing that has always puzzled me about these things is because the engine and this thing is spring mounted, and the plate itself with the eccentric weight flying round is on a is the other end of the springs, there's not constant tension on the belts. Because the engine can move independently to the actual plate. And so I'm not sure how you're meant to tension the belts. I looked it up on YouTube, and all there is how to change a belt. Most of the modern smaller machines have a split pulley, and you just take the bit off, and I don't think there is a tension other than possibly shims in between the pulley itself. So I'm none the wiser. So I've not had any comments, I don't think, hardly on my videos, but I would appreciate it if anyone knows. Perhaps they can post a comment how you are supposed to tension the belts. So that's about as true as I can get them running. It's still not 100%, but the engine itself is right up against the stop there, where the adjusting bolts go, and the oil drain plug, that side of the engine, is actually hitting. So I can't get any less tension on them. They're actually quite tight. And I know in the past, if you have them too tight, that won't vibrate at all. So time will tell. Anyway, after a long dry spell, it's actually going to pour with rain this morning here. And so I'm going to give it one more surprise and take the carburettor off and clean it, because it doesn't tick over very well. blown all the jets out now and got the car back together, and I've just noticed that this lever that works the butterfly on the top there is very, very loose. It's only riveted on, and I'm not going to try and re-rivet it in case I break the whole carburetor body, but I think I'll see if I can stick a little bit of solder on it, because the butterfly would move independent to the lever if that wasn't tight. Not sure if it's really clean enough to tin properly. Oh yeah, it's not too bad, it's running in a bit. It should be a lot better than it was anyway. There we are, never fall off again now. Apart from filling the garage up with smoke, it seems to be alright. Despite my efforts yesterday, cleaning and soldering the top on there on the carburetor, that still wouldn't tick over properly. So I started looking at other carburetors and noticed that this one doesn't have a mixture screw. There's a blanked off piece there where it looked like from other pictures of carburetors advertised that they have a mixture screw, and this one doesn't. The only thing I didn't do with this was put it in an ultrasonic cleaner because I haven't got one. But then I saw on Amazon, for the princely sum of £16.79, you get a little kit which includes a new carburetor with what I hope is a mixture screw, probably for the slow running, a plug, and a little fuel filter which won't actually fit in my case, and a new piece of pipe for less than £17. It's just ridiculous, really. We all moan about where these are made, but how on earth they can do it and ship it across here and Amazon have a cut out of it and still make money, I really and honestly don't know. But let's fit it and see if it works. Well, now the whacker plate's all back together, this is how we transport it underneath the digger bucket. These plastic things, they protect the rope. And I've learnt by my mistakes that unfortunately if you don't have them on, that cuts the rope through, and I've ended up dragging the whacker plate along the road. Anyway, I'm about to attempt a feat that I don't think any council has ever achieved, which is to fill in a pothole that hasn't got a white line round it. So I'm just off down the lane where we've got plenty of potholes to practice on, and we'll see how I go. So we picked a medium-sized pothole to start, and obviously it's far too big a job for me to do on my own. So I've had to enlist the help of Paul here, who's going to put the asphalt in, and then I'm going to come along with the whacker plate and smooth it down. I hate to be rude, really, about the council workmen, because I used to think that they were so short-sighted they couldn't actually tell where a pothole was unless some other person had drawn a white line round it. But then someone said to me that the reason the council draw white lines around potholes is so they're not liable for repairs to any damage done to a vehicle that gets run over as it. So there we are, we'll see how we do with this one. It'll take nearly a whole bag of cold lay tarmac.
Lovely stuff, this. Favourite job.
I think we're ready if the whacker plate will start.
Lost an eye, happy?
We'll soon see. Might need a little choke as it's cold again. Nope. Yeah, I think that's a lot better than it was.
Yeah, great big dog.
I'm ending in the potholes, and Otto's found a friend. A very big friend. Oh, is he good? Yes, he is. You're all right, aren't you? Lovely old dog you are. Who's this, Otto?